Hello YouTube, this is Matthew Williams and I'm just bringing you a quick video on the subject of Dr. Levengood. And as some of you may have been aware recently, Colin Andrews has... God, look at me, I really am like Dennis Healy. Eyebrows like a bloody goat. And yes, Dr. Levengood, who is not Dr. Levengood, he's actually Mr. Levengood, who faked his credentials. Well, somebody's been asking me where this information came from, and there's a skeptical sort of magazine called Saucer Smear, and it actually featured the information about Dr. Levengood. And the original investigator who sort of found out that Levengood is not Dr. Levengood, and he's actually faked his credentials, was Kevin Randle. I think I have mentioned this before, but let's just read this out to you. So it says, "Finally, we have a hilarious story from the cursed net regarding Dr. William Levengood of the BLT Research Team Incorporated." Incorporated makes it sound so professional. Hang on, I've just dropped something. Yes, Dr. William Levengood of BLT Research Team Incorporated, Corporation, Limited Company, government of Ecuador, I don't know. A small group that has done a great deal of useful research on crop circles and cattle mutilations with rather spectacular results. When Levengood's doctorate was recently called into question by Dr. Kevin Randle of Roswell fame and others, because he investigated Roswell, wrote a book about it, Levengood said that in reality he has a PhD equivalent from the National Academy of Sciences, NAS. This would be fine if it were true, but when that prestigious body was made known, was contacted, sorry, there was a word hiding behind a box. When that prestigious body was contacted, they made it known that NAS is not an academic institution and does not issue degree equivalents of any kind. This sort of leaves Dr. Levengood out on a limb. Another problem is that BLT spectacular. Here we go. Yeah, alright, let's just leave it. BLT's spectacular results have not been duplicated elsewhere, either because of lack of funding, lack of interest, or possibly because these results are not actually valid. Now, I'd go with that one, that's good. We don't know who the B in BLT is, but the T is a lady, she's in the Navy, I don't know, named Nancy Talbott. Here we go, I'm gonna do a stutter on now. We have met her and seen her slideshow, and we think that she gives a very good presentation indeed, based mainly on the research of Dr. Levengood. Interesting that, isn't it? And it says stay tuned. Well, the B is actually Burke. I think it's something, another Burke guy or something. Burke, Levengood and Talbott, that's what it stands for. But yeah, it's kind of funny, isn't it, that somebody who claims to be a doctor comes out with all this fantastic research, oh wow, we've got this weird thing happening with the crop and this cellular change and microwaves and energies and bow bow and pachow and wow, yeah, and he comes out with all this stuff and he's not really a doctor. So he's faking his credentials and he's going pachow, pachow, yeah. Now the thing is, with con people, con artists, yeah, they're not just your average person, they're the best in their field, aren't they? And they've been doing it for many years and they've got spectacular results and many people have bought from them, and it's all about confidence. That's what fucking confidence tricksing is. It's about giving people confidence that what you're saying is correct. And what better way to do it than with phony fucking credentials like PhD, professor, archbishop, fucking pope, whatever, yeah? It gives you an elevated position of authority, and people start to listen to you. Now, if any of you, I don't know if any of you are actually familiar with the work done in the 60s. I think, I can't remember what it's called now, but there was basically experiments done on whether or not people would be prepared to torture people based on the fact that somebody in authority, Milgram, I think it was, Milgram experiments, and basically you sit somebody down in a chair and you've got buttons which range from 1 to 10, and 1 is a little electric shock, and 2 is a bit more, 3 is even more, 4 is very painful, 5 is agonizing, 6 is, the person is in spasm, right the way up to 10, which is death. Yeah, so they marked up that that's what they are, that they will do, and then somebody in a white coat comes into the room and says, I'd like you to be part of the experiment. There's obviously volunteers there. I'd like you to be part of the experiment, and what we need you to do now is shock this person by pressing number 1. And then they hear through a set of speakers the person in the other room who's apparently being shocked, and they're going, ah, and it's like, and then they ask the person in the other room sets of questions, some of which are impossible to answer, and then the person sitting in this room is asked to press the next button. So every time they get a question wrong, they have to go up and up and up in series of pain. Okay, so these experiments, look them up on YouTube. They are real experiments, but what they found was that a rather alarming thing takes place. When you have a person who appears to be in military fatigues, or appears to be a doctor wearing a white coat, a pen in his pocket and a stethoscope round it, whatever, when people appear to have the clothing and the appearance and the attitude of somebody in authority that knows what they're talking about, suddenly the person who's there pushing the buttons, the volunteer who's just walked in off the street, they are prepared to, in most cases, press the button that says lethal electric shock, and from the other room they hear the person give their last scream as they die. Of course, they're not really in the other room dying, but it proves the point. It's just a tape recording being played back, or somebody on a microphone pretending to, be electric shocked. Now, what it shows is that basically, as a scientific experiment, people will do things and listen to and behave along the, conforming line. They will do things and believe. Doctors and professors and military people and people in authority positions. And this is why it's very dangerous that you have people faking their credentials, because not only does it make people do things they wouldn't normally do, but they're prepared to believe things they wouldn't normally fucking well believe, i.e. crop circle bollocks. Yes? Now, Levengood is one of the big reasons that so many people out there, when you ask them about crop circles, they either go one of two things. Yes, they're made by people. I've seen a TV documentary on there with some stupid fucking pink or white-haired guy and his buddies who fucking go and make them. Or they go on the other side and they say, option 2, which is, there's no way people can fucking make these things because of the nodal bends and the cellular changes and the electromagnetic energy, right? And where's all that come from? Where's that fucking nucleus of bullshit come from? That's come from Dr. Levengood, yeah? And Professor Glickman, yeah? These fucking tossbags, right, who've actually gone and proclaimed themselves to be fucking, really upstanding members of community who should be taken seriously, yeah? And they're nothing but fucking con men, shysters, yeah? Maybe Levengood has no biophysical fucking skills at all. Maybe he is a complete and utter fucking con man, right? Has anybody ever asked that question? Because the guy sits in a lab and wears a white coat, has a microscope and a fucking screen that goes beep, beep, yeah? And then he can say, oh yes, this weird shit's going on, yeah? That everybody should take that fucking seriously, yeah? And Nancy Talbott and Burke Levengood and fucking Talbott get together as a little nucleus core of like, now the world should listen to us and take us fucking seriously, because this con man and me, who can be easily conned, yeah? And we know you can, Lancy, because we've seen how you listen to bloody Guys from the Netherlands who are faking crop circles and UFO sightings outside their house, yeah? It's all bollocks. So anyway, there you go.